Kizamde! Hop on the beat! The 8th part of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, titled JoJolion, finally reached its conclusion this August. Now that it's complete, I plan on covering a variety of topics from the story. One of the main questions about JoJolion since it began has been the meaning of its title. It is definitely a unique title compared to the others in the series, since it doesn't have a clear meaning without an understanding of the story. Just a fair warning, this discussion is actually extremely dense. I will cover a variety of topics from both parts 7 and 8, so consider this a spoiler warning for the entirety of those two parts, especially part 8. Araki himself has offered an explanation for the title in the author's note of JoJolion's second volume. He says that the Lian suffix means Blessed One. He combined this with JoJo to signify the existence of the protagonist, Josuke. This is to say that Josuke was created as a kind of holy force in the world. So in order to understand the meaning of the title, we need to look at the forces behind Josuke's creation, and the role he would eventually play in the conflict of the story. Josuke is a person created by a fusion between two people, Yoshikage Kira and Josefumi Kujo. They were combined by the powers of the Wall Eyes and the new Lokakaka that grew on top of them. This sequence of events was a miraculous occurrence that is likely to never be repeated. The Wall Eyes and Lokakaka are both things that are shrouded in mystery. However, many clues have been given that may indicate their true nature. The most important concepts to understand when it comes to JoJolion are the supernatural forces working behind the scenes. In the original universe of JoJo, fate was the most important force in the story. I've spoken extensively about fate in the past, so if you want to see that, there are many videos you could check out. Fate controlled all events, physically and mentally binding people together through various means. In the new universe of parts 7 and 8, a version of fate exists that is known as flow. Much like fate, we don't fully understand the nature of flow, but it is mentioned many times by the characters in JoJolion. Flow is present in everything, and certain things can manipulate the course it takes. This is first described by Norisuke when telling Josuke about the design of the fruit parlor. He had perfected the design to encourage the flow of customers to take a certain path. Later, the term flow is used to refer to the concept of the right path. This is similar to the application of fate in parts 5 and 6, which states that fate favors the one who is just. Jobin was convinced that he was putting the Higashikata family on the right path, where the flow would favor them. There are also mentions of a negative flow, namely the flow of calamity described by the main antagonist. Calamity is a negative force that exists in the world, and the character Toru tapped into this force for his own benefit. Anyone who attempted to pursue him would be caught up in the negative flow and be killed. It seems that the flow operates on a system of karma, as described by Rai in chapter 97. This further indicates that those on the right path will benefit from flow. This kind of negative karma seems to move from person to person in the form of curses. As I've mentioned in a previous video, what is often perceived of as curses is often actually a stand-like ability working from behind the scenes. The best example of this is the Milagro Man, a curse that moves through the transfer of money. Curses are created as a result of a sin committed in the past. This is often described as a friction between light and dark. The main conflict of the story involves the Higashikata curse, which Josuke would play a key role in breaking. So if the calamity represents the negative flow, where can we find the positive flow? This is best seen in the existence of saints. Saints are individuals who have an exceptional degree of perfection. These more perfect individuals can often have access to supernatural abilities that may even persist after death. Much like curses, these blessings are a positive form of the same energy. The corpse of Jesus was the pinnacle of this perfection, and it was sought after by many characters during and after Part 7. One example of these miracles was Devil's Palms, landmarks created around the scattered pieces of the saint's corpse. When one passed through the Devil's Palm, they had a chance of being granted the power of a stand. The power of the Saint's corpse, as well as other forms of power in the series, are derived from one underlying concept, the golden ratio. The golden ratio is the specific equation on which all life is based. This is the perfection I'm referring to with the Saints. People have attempted to imitate the ratio throughout history, but the true ratio can only be found in natural life. This is the source of the ability of spin introduced in Part 7. By using nature as a reference, the ratio can be matched to harness infinite rotational energy. Spin is known to be intertwined with the power of stands. When a spin user passes through a devil's palm, their spin power may be increased. When one reaches mastery of spin, they can gain the power of a stand. This concept also works in reverse. Since stands are simply a different expression of the ratio's energy, it's possible to tap into spin from them as well. This was alluded to by Mamazuku Rai, who understood the nature of stands and their relationship with spin. As someone who studied nature for his entire life, I find it quite likely that Rai had some knowledge of the golden ratio. This is like a new version of the ghostly ripple concept touched on by the original universe. There, stands and Haman were both expressions of the same kind of energy. The same is true for spin and stands in the new universe. It's likely that the many attempts to imitate the ratio's perfection is the same as attempting to adhere to the nature of flow. This is a concept present in feng shui, where the placement of certain objects can lead to positive energy. In the previous universe, feng shui was described as a form of fate during the fight against Dragon's Dream. In the new universe, many concepts from feng shui are present in flow. The way feng shui influences the construction of buildings is quite similar to how Norisuke referred to flow with his fruit parlor. So I view the so-called right path and the perfection of the ratio that the Saints seem to have to be one and the same. Much like the masters of the past who imitated the beauty of the ratio, Norisuke's fruit parlor was constructed to influence positive flow, all the way down to the parfait glass itself. In the old universe, luck has also been described as a form of fate. In Part 7, the character Poco Loco possessed an exceptional level of luck. Luck and this universe's version of fate are also shown to be intertwined. As if it couldn't be any more upfront, a fortune teller was the one who told Poco Loco about his luck in the first place. He was shown to have access to a stand ability but did not pass through a devil's palm. His own inherent luck created a stand. You could see Poco Loco as a person who was on the right path. The luck was granted to him by positive flow. The power of spin is known to be able to defy the universe's logic. When Valentine obtained the complete Saint's corpse, he gained access to an ability known as Love Train. This is a dimensional barrier that repels all negative energy. He planned to use this to turn the United States into a paradise by ejecting all negative energy to other countries. This could absolutely be viewed as a manipulation of positive and negative flow. The only way to breach this barrier was with the power of the perfect golden rotation, which can exist beyond space and harm Valentine. The two main factors that led to Josuke's creation were the new Lokakaka and the walleyes. I'll start with the Lokakaka. This was a fruit that supposedly originates from the island of New Guinea in the southeast. It possesses the power of equivalent exchange. If one eats it, one part of their body will be healed or improved, while another will turn to stone. This fruit was being smuggled into Japan as early as the 1940s. The rock humans planned to use these to slowly gain control over humanity by essentially selling them immortality. The fruit was said to smell and taste like a fig. There may be biblical significance to this, as there was with the Saint's corpse. In many interpretations, the forbidden fruit from Genesis was depicted as a fig. Also, in one biblical story, Jesus was said to have cursed a fig tree. The presence of a curse in that story is definitely interesting when compared to the nature of curses in JoJolion. While the origin of the fruit is still a mystery, certain things may hint at it resurfacing in Part 9. Eventually, another version of the Lokakaka was created, referred to as the new Lokakaka. This originates from the grafting of the fruit onto a tree in the Higashikata orchard, which exists on top of the walleyes. The walleyes' power was given to the fruit, changing the way it works. This fruit does a one-way exchange between two people. This fruit caused part of the exchange between Josefumi and Kira. The other part of the exchange was done by the walleyes themselves. These were a phenomenon that existed in the town of Morio. It has been seen that those who go near the walleyes may be granted a stand, very similarly to a devil's palm. In fact, this was confirmed in Chapter 99, when both the devil's palm and walleyes were given the shared label of a blessing from the earth. The walleyes also possess the power of equivalent exchange, a property seen in both the saint's corpse and the Lokakaka. They are best indicated by the large protrusions that appeared after the 2011 earthquake, but the power of the ground of Morio has existed long before that. Lucy Steele was aware of it in the 1940s and first discovered its power in 1901, shortly after the death of Johnny Joestar. Johnny's legend is extremely important to the nature of the walleyes. While not directly stated, it is heavily implied that Johnny's actions are responsible for the power of Morio. It's possible that some portion of the corpse or its energy was left behind to create a power similar to a devil's palm. However, what I think is that through his sacrifice, Johnny himself became a saint. He was later buried in Morio, and a statue in the city is used to remember him. The place where Johnny first performed the exchange was in a small cave beneath the twin pines of Morio. This would later be the location of a shrine, which was often associated with his memory. It may even be the location that he was buried, but this is not known for sure. The Higashikata family used this location to exchange the disease for many years. The significance of the shrine definitely contributes to this idea. It has been seen that the blessings from the earth protect the areas inside them. The Higashikata property is surrounded by the walleyes, and was mostly undamaged by the earthquake. Similarly, the area around the Mutsukabe spring was safe from the earthquake, and that is located near a shrine. So I find it likely that the site of that exchange is the origin point of the walleyes. The effects of this power could be viewed as the posthumous miracles often performed by the corpses of saints. After they ate the fruit, Josefumi and Kira fell into the walleyes, exchanging their bodies to create Josuke. All of these forces in the world perfectly aligned to create Josuke. His creation has been described as a kind of providence, almost like divine intervention. Josuke's role in the conflict is where the title really starts to take shape. The main enemies of Part 8 are the rock humans. These are a mysterious race of silicon-based organisms, rather than the carbon-based ones that currently rule the Earth. It was said that silicon-based life was created as a kind of backup plan in case carbon-based life failed. The rock humans have the ultimate goal of rising above humanity and ruling them using the power of the Lokakaka. The rock humans are known to have a reverence for the Earth, and they often call the blessings from the Earth their home. This is likely the reason that so many rock humans are stand users. The character Dolomite lived in the area around the Mutsukabe shrine, further supporting its status as a blessing from the earth. On the list of places that rock humans are said to inhabit, shrines are also included. The respect for the earth that rock humans possessed may have been alluded to in Part 7 by the character Dr. Ferdinand. He was a paleontologist who had a great understanding of the saint's corpse and the devil's palms. He said that the previous rulers of the Earth, the dinosaurs, died off since they did not respect the Earth. It seems that rock humans want to replace humanity in much the same way. Integral to the system of feng shui is the idea of yin and yang, the positive and negative forces that contradict as well as complement each other. You could view the calamity and the positive forces opposing it as part of a similar system. So while the positive and negative forces are considered opposites, they can also be viewed as one and the same. This was further supported by Chapter 109, where Lucy said that often a blessing may be viewed as a curse. Even something that is viewed unanimously as a curse, like the Milagro Man, still has some hints of this. As you may know, in English the word milagro means miracle. Alongside the positive and negative forces are things that exist outside of it. This was first seen with the Golden Rotation in Part 7, and later with Soft and Wet's Go Beyond ability in Part 8. Go Beyond was an ability Josuke gained due to the fusion between Killer Queen and Soft and Wet. This was referred to as an explosive spin. It is an attack that exists outside the logic of Calamity, much like the Golden Rotation did against Love Train. He's able to use this to destroy Wonder of You at the end of the story. We can view Josuke as a kind of avatar for the positive forces of the earth. He was created through the power of miracles and works against the powers of calamity and curses. Similarly, Toru is an avatar for the negative forces. He manipulates the powers of calamity for his own benefit. The motivations of characters like Josuke and Toru are personal. Toru wants to gain power and Josuke wants to save the people around him. However, just as important are the metaphysical forces working through them. The rock humans came into existence in case humanity failed. As the opposition to humanity, it's possible that the two were created by an equal and opposite negative and positive flow. I often thought of fate in the original universe as a kind of self-correcting force. When someone like Diavolo tried to manipulate fate to his advantage, it later corrected itself to have the opposite effect and punish him. I think Flow is an even clearer example of this. The forces of calamity attempted to rise higher in the world, and the positive forces fought back with the creation of Josuke. In fact, it may have even been calamity itself that indirectly contributed to Josuke's birth. Wonder of You described the death of Mamazuku's father, who was killed in a landslide caused by calamity. It's possible that the earthquake itself was a product of calamity, but that caused the walleyes to unearth along with the method of creating Josuke. Toru and the other rock humans at the TG University Hospital were the ones who experimented on Holly to cause her illness. However, that illness is what inspired Kira and Josefumi to steal the fruit. This led to the creation of the new Lokakaka and their fusion into Josuke. Yasuho's involvement was also important in the final battle. Without her, Josuke wouldn't have been able to attack Toru directly. Yasuho's motivation to help Josuke stems from her experience with the rock animal hair clip in the past. It's possible that was another example of calamity indirectly leading to its own defeat. Finally, the fusion between Josefumi and Kira was what caused Josuke's Go Beyond ability. This was the final attack that let Josuke go beyond Calamity's logic and defeat Toru. This is the significance of the title of JoJolion. Josuke is an individual created through divine intervention, and the positive forces of Earth operate through him. Everything that led to his creation was as a result of the flow's influence. Each event flowed into the next until everything aligned perfectly, restoring balance to the world. But maybe the best way to describe this shifting of the world would be an equivalent exchange. JoJolion introduced a huge amount to the world that shares with Steel Ball Run. I expect the same to be true for the next upcoming part, JoJo Lands. Some people thought the story of JoJolion didn't go far enough with these details. I might agree if it weren't for the existence of Part 9. Like 8 did, I absolutely expect a continuation of the ideas set up here. I think JoJolion's two main goals were to flesh out the world, but also tell a more personal story of Josuke and the curse. I think it accomplished this well, and I am satisfied with the ending. Now that Part 8 is over, I can pursue more JoJolion related videos. If you have a topic you'd like to see me cover, comment it down below. If you want to receive updates on new videos or leave suggestions, join the Hum and Beat Discord using the link in the description. To receive rewards like Discord perks and some uncut videos, you can support the channel on Patreon. And finally, for future videos, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching. This is the part of the video where I thank my $5 and up patrons. Thank you to Tony, the Owl God, Alex Ramirez, Raziana, Anasui Hat, Doorbell, Cloudy, Monkman, Ashton Joseph Miller, Crayon, Jesper Jansen, Austin Nino, Rigo Vids, Zucato, Shane Giger, Walter White, Whiskey, Taylor Choi, Pumpkin Doge, Marrow, Gift G Stans, Bailey Smile, Stephen Pennington, Ali, Almighty Quarth, and Jonathan Burr.